Hi, welcome to the Generation X perspective, or at least one Generation X perspective, a Western white middle-aged male one. Today I just wanted to speak briefly about the Black Lives Matters protest rally in Sydney that I attended yesterday. Today I'm reflecting on why I went, what I heard and felt, and some of the criticism from conservative politicians and pundits. So here goes. So maybe on this video, I know that I'll just talk about the why probably most of all. It really started with an extended news report that showed George Floyd being murdered in front of our eyes, just being killed slowly, senselessly, quietly, gratuitously, over many minutes. It wasn't like a cop reaching for his gun in self-defense. There were people on the side of the street pleading, can we help? And his colleagues stopped them from interceding. So just hearing another human being pleading with the police, officer, you're killing me, I can't breathe, and calling out for his mother. I've never been so affected by anything on TV that I can ever remember. And that it affected me profoundly. It made me angry, it made me sad. Still makes me tear up a little bit thinking about it. I was swearing at the TV. I couldn't sleep. Just that impacted me. And then I guess the racial dynamics, I guess I could appreciate them from an intellectual sense, but I guess it's just, there are issues in Australia and it's just a different dynamic. It's something we don't see so much every day here, let's say. But at the time it was really just seeing one human kill another human, and such a stunning video, and just, we should be thankful, I guess, that it was recorded, because things would be very different if it hadn't been. So, look, long story short, I guess my initial thoughts after seeing that were just how messed up America is. Their police are really militarized, and just it's crazy. Then I guess I shifted to Australia's got its own problems with casual and institutional racism. And I guess I felt a little bit guilty, not for centuries of oppression and white occupation. That's not me, and frankly I'm sure at some stage everyone except the ruling elite have been oppressed at some stage. But I'm living now. I'm responsible for my actions or lack of action in this age. So I guess I'm part of a white majority at a time in my life when I've seen a lot happen. I grew up, Generation X. We grew up in the Cold War. We caught the tail end of Vietnam. global financial crises, three or four, I think. Now a pandemic. Yeah, it's, I guess, and we're at a stage in our lives where, if we're lucky, and we've got a little bit of money, we've got connections, we're often in positions where we can influence change. We know a bit about how government works, and we've got, let's say, 3 decades of experience seeing movements rise, fall, fail, and sometimes succeed. So I think that's a useful perspective. The other thing, I guess, with our generation is, or at least all my friends and family of my generation, we've sort of instilled, we don't accept racism or sexism or homophobia. I guess we probably haven't been change agents on the whole. We're sort of in between, the civil and gender revolution, I guess, the 60s and 1970s were a time of great change. But yeah, and we're not the millennials either, so we're sort of an in-between generation. But like I say, we've got probably a little bit more context. We're probably a little bit too cynical, but the younger generation, our children, they're better than us when it comes to motivation and action and the acceptance. They just refuse to look away from racism, whereas we've probably learned not to see it as much, and we don't see it so much in our lives. And look, they've got social media, and at this point in time, they've probably got more time to just, for economic reasons, than say an employed middle-aged white male. So anyway, it just, when I heard about the rally, it was, at that point, it was going to be illegal to participate. And it's probably the first time in my life I've decided to, I guess, a little bit of civil disobedience. I've got no personal, I've got nothing personal at stake other than my own desire to do a little bit to make a difference, and a sense of integrity, to maintain integrity in my own values. So yeah, I guess honestly, when I went to the rally, I was a little bit uncomfortable. People like me were a bit of a minority, and at the start I was a bit worried whether I'd get arrested or whether that would affect my job and things like that. I didn't hear until afterwards that the courts had ruled the Sydney protest would be lawful. Now, look, many of you might say somebody like me has no place, has no say in Black Lives Matter, and in a sense, you're absolutely correct. But I hope you would acknowledge that social and political change has the best chance of success when there's enough people like me who support it, or at least we don't stand in your way. So I'd give the example of same-sex marriage in Australia. A decade ago, I was in support of same-sex marriage, but I never thought it would happen so quickly. Yet it has, and that's because a lot of people like me we're influenced in Parliament to, well, you know the story of same-sex marriage in Australia. At the end of the day, a law was written in Parliament and enacted. Now, the racial change is not going to be that easy, because it's just not, you can't unwind the systematic racism, the casual racism, individual to individual, that's out there. But again, people of all my friends who are my age, all my brother, my sister, my cousins, they all believe in the innate dignity of human beings, not being dependent on your race, your age, your gender, your sexuality, whether you're able-bodied or not. Our human dignity and how we treat others shouldn't be dependent on skin color, something, you know, just a few genes in your DNA. So we all believe that, and I'm sorry and frustrated at myself that I haven't done more, but what's done is done, or what's not done is done. But the future, this is it's just a nexus right now where I think there is an opportunity, and I know there's been a lot of criticism of holding the rallies at this time because of COVID-19, and I thought about that deeply, and I'll talk more about that in another video. But if we'd done it in a month or 2 months, it just wouldn't have had the same impact because of what's going on in America. It's global, because racism is global. Humans are global. I'm going to piss a few people off now by saying I think people of all skin colors on average are probably just as racist as each other. It's just depending on the country or the society you're in. There will be more or less institutional racism depending on the population and the power dynamics. So humans are tribal, and that's one thing that's universal. So look, just, yes, I don't really have a lot of skin in the game other than just wanting my daughter and everyone else's kids, my family's kids, my friends' kids, people I don't know. I just, you know, if we can leave the world a little bit better than we received it from our parents, and I've been lucky. You know, I haven't had conscription like the generations before me. There's been conflicts, but I haven't been directly involved. Not like my grandfather, my great-grandfather, people of my father's generation. I've had family members, you know, from World War I all the way through to Afghanistan. I've had family members involved, but I haven't been dragged into that directly. So it was sort of a lucky generation once we got out of the Cold War, and a hopeful generation at one point after the Berlin Wall fell. But look, so I just flip it around, and don't stop us, don't judge us for wanting to be involved. It's not about white guilt, it's not being condescending, it's just wanting to help one human to another. We've all got something to offer when it comes to making social change like this, and the more people you've got on board, the more people who know how government works, and media and public relations and things like that, the better you're going to be. So that's where I'll finish off. I'm just glad people organised that and I had the opportunity to attend, so thank you.